Good evening, everybody. How are you? I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a lovely day. Where are we? Wednesday. This is day 10. So we've got today, tomorrow and Friday, and then that's it. We're done. Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas is over. Well, we haven't finished yet. So, I haven't had a minute to look at your posts in the Making It Monday group today. I've liked a few. I've looked at a few as they've popped up on my feed, but I haven't gone into the Making It Monday group to like them. But I will. I definitely will. It's going to be a job for later this evening when I'm relaxing, that I can then go through and look at all the blocks. And they're quite incredible, really. I'm still blown away. I was talking to somebody today and I said, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And if you look in the photos, if you just click on photos, whether you're on your phone, your laptop, your PC, Mac, whatever you use, if you look, click on photos, just have a look. There are hundreds. And it's quite incredible, really. Oh, hi, Abby. Abigail's just finished her live. If you're not one of Abigail's All-Star Stitchers, once a month she does block of the month and then makes up a quilt at the end of it. So if you if you follow her already, then you'll know all about what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you might want to do that because she will go through every month and do one, which is perhaps more achievable. Although I have to say, you've all done incredibly well. I'm blown away, as I said. Abby's making 6-inch blocks, which is 6.5, but it stitches obviously down to 6 inches. So quite diddy, really, from what we've been doing. So that could be your next challenge, couldn't it? To go smaller or even bigger. I'm not even going to tell you. Those that have got the card deck know what size the biggest block is of this. I'm not going to say, because you would need to buy this, really. But it's quite big, which actually, if you're doing some of the really, because in that box there are some cards that I've had to completely dismiss because they're really there's a huge amount of cutting and piecing, which I didn't think, if we're doing one a day, that's quite a challenge to create something quite intricate. So I've kind of left those to one side, and I've gone for more of the ones that we can achieve in an hour. And I know that you'd be able to achieve in an hour and a half at home, perhaps tomorrow or the next day, whenever you feel like it. But anyway, that's part of Abby's group. Elaine says Amazon are delivering tomorrow. Oh, wow. Now, I wonder if they're back in stock. I wonder. Unless these are back orders. I don't know. Somebody could have a look on Amazon for me. If they're back in stock, then I can, keep reminding you that they're there. If you go via my Amazon shop, I do get a little bit of commission. I would say maybe 10p per deck. I know it's not very much, but it's fun. I like the fun of it. So if somebody could have a look, that would be great. Patsy says the road to Oaklahoma was her next choice. It really is quite a nice one, Patsy. And also, I think, again, quite achievable, although there's quite a lot of points. If you're not into your points, there's quite a few points to match up. We'll have a look at it in a sec. What I've kind of said is sort of, now we've done quite a few, nearly 10, is look at the ones that you've already made and see if any of those really worked well for you, and then maybe make 2 or 3 of those, so to fill up your 12 blocks, if you like. And it doesn't matter if you change the fabrics a bit, change the leading colours, etc. It'll look like a different block. We've seen how that works when we've looked at everybody's blocks and they've used different colours. Two extremes. If you look at Kath's blocks, which are very subtle, muted, light tones of blue, and then you look maybe at Gemma Joy's, which are pizzazz. They are pizzazz personified. Two totally different colour schemes, and they look like different blocks. And you know as well as I do, having looked through all the pictures, they absolutely do look like different blocks. So there may be some of these you want to sort of say, actually, you know, I'm going to give that a miss, but I'll do two of whatever, Twin Sisters or the King's Crown or whatever it is you've decided. So oh, Jackie says they're still out of stock, but they were on pre-order, Elaine. Well, that's interesting, because I know it says on Amazon that you can order it. You can still place an order, and then when it comes in, they'll send it out. So it's possible they're going through pre-orders, and then it'll be available on the website. So keep a little lookout for that if it's something that you want. Okay, if it's something that you want. So let's crack on. We don't want to go over, do we? Oh, I see. Christine says mine is due to arrive from Amazon on the 20th of Jan. Right, Christine, where are you in the world? Are you in the UK or are you in the US? Kath says they'll post when available. Yeah, that's what I had seen on there, Kath. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm not in charge of Amazon. I'm rather pleased I'm not. So if we have a quick look overhead, this is the block we're going to do. It's called The Road to Oklahoma. It's using 3 colours, so we can stick to that. But don't forget, if you want to change the colours to your colours, then oh, Gillian says hers was delayed with the strike. Well, that's not surprised. I think everything was, wasn't it? So, like I say, if you want to change the colours, why not? Why not? I think sometimes you can get a feel for these things, can't you? Oftentimes, I think it's better to stick what they suggest. And then if you want to change, you can, can't you? You find your own comfort level, I suppose. So we're not, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cuts we need to do, but only 3 different colours. So we'll just work out what's, well, let's call it purple, mauve and green. So we just need to obviously work out what colours we're going to use. I've put all 6 down, as you can see. You may not have seen these fabrics before. I think you possibly have. So there we are. So that's what we're going to do. Road to Oklahoma. I think there's a little bit, as you can tell, there's a little bit of cutting to do. Oh, Chris says expecting her cards today. Oh, Christine says UK. Oh, right, okay. So I wonder why you've got a 20th as your lead time. Who knows? Who knows? Yes. So, and also we're going to make these up in groups of 4 again. Actually, I think we did that last night, didn't we? So we're going to make that set of 4, that set of 4, etc., etc., and then we'll join them together. So quite a nice little block actually. We're obviously going to do the 10-inch. So don't forget, underneath my little strips of paper, there are other sizes. So the cards aren't just 10-inch blocks. There's 5 different sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different sizes on the cards. So yeah, fantastic. Right, so I shall obviously now face you for 5 minutes. Choose your numbers. We need 3 numbers, guys. We need 3 numbers. And then I'm going to just move these around. So bear with while I move them around. And we'll see what we get. As you know, I don't cheat. I don't. What's the point? And like I say, I will say this, I can never remember. I'll just move that one along. I can never remember where I've put them. I don't take a blind bit of notice. I just happen to move them. That's all I ever do. So we're looking for 3 numbers tonight, ladies and gents. Oh, 3 has suddenly popped up. There's lots. Violet says there's a 3 in there. Judy 3, Violet 3, Anne 3, Kath 3, Gemma Joy 3. There's lots of 3s. I can see lots of 3s. So I'm going to take 3 out of my heap. Susan says she's still waiting for everything so she can start. Well, at least you'll have watched, Susan, and you'll be full of it. So I'm going to pick 3. Right, okay, 3. Oh. I'm saying absolutely nothing. Oh, sorry, it's looking a bit scruffy now, isn't it? Well, we've certainly got a theme going on. So let's put 3. I can't believe. Honestly, and I don't cheat. I wish I did. I feel too bad if I cheat. So let's move these along. Oh dear. Right. 6. There's lots of 6s. Trouble is, when I see my comments on I've got a big TV screen in front of me. It doubles them up. I don't know why it doubles them up, but it does. So I have you all pretty much saying it once, and then it doubles it. So it's a bit. Yeah, I know, Gemma. I know. It's like I planned it. Not. Anyway, let's have a look. Come on. I'm going to go back over the comments because obviously you've put all your numbers. Put them on again. So we picked up 3. I'm looking at 6. 6 is screaming out at me, and 5, to be honest. 6 and 5. Should we go 6 and 5? 6, 5, 4. 5 again with Jackie. Penny says there's a 5 there. Jan says 6. Yeah, I think we're going to go 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Rosemary says 6. Gemma Joy says 5 and 6. Well, if Gemma Joy says it, that's it. We have to go with it. And Leanna says 5 and 6. Dawn says 5 and 6. Yeah. Shall we do it? 5 and 6. 5. Oh, okay. Actually, I think this same fabrics was used last night. Let's just get these out the way. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Well, it's going to be quite a busy one. I don't mind, though, because you probably would never have chosen these yourself. Do you know what I mean? You would have looked and thought, oh, no, I'm not sure, a bit busy. I'm going to just have a look behind me because I'm just seeing if we've used these before together. No, I don't think we have. I'm looking for the dark blue. That helps me. No, we haven't actually done that combination before. So I think it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So I'm going to have to use the blue as a pop. Yeah, I think blue as the pop. So when you look at the tones, oftentimes if you look at the tones, and black and white is really good. And they often say when you've got your fabrics out to do something that you should take a black and white photograph, right? And with a black and white photograph, you get the tones of your fabrics, and you should have a light, medium, dark. That's what you should have. And I suppose we've actually got that because I think it should go, hold on, let me get this a bit scruffy, this fabric now. I think that is light, medium, dark. That's how I read it. Dark, medium, light, light, medium, dark. Yeah, do you agree? So let's just take off the bits of paper. And I'm going to get my little, I've got my stickets here from the other night. I might have to get, how many do I need? 3, but I need 5 bits. Hold on. Here we go. I might have to get my rubber out. Honestly, I could get another post-it, really. Jan says she loves busy. Great choice, everyone. Kath says she rather likes it. Good. Well, that's it's done deal anyway. So dark, we're going to have to do the squares, aren't we, for the dark? So if we look at the plan, those are E. Okay, so we're going to, do that as an E. So let me get my quilting. See, this is how handy are quilting clips for all sorts of adventures in your workroom. So that's going to be E. So let's flip it over again because this is quite a good thing for you to see, guys, actually. And these are the medium ones, which I think is this. So if we flip it over again, the medium ones, they've got as, well, let's do A. So that's A. These are dreadful post-its. They don't stick on anything. B. And C. Okay. Yeah, there we go. A, B and C. Oh, and no, not D. D is this one. D is that one. I think we're sorted. Guys. Everybody's agreeing. That's a good start. Oh dear. Well, wouldn't it be awful if we didn't agree? What would happen? Oh, what would we do? I'd have to bring John up. John, what do you think? But he wouldn't have a clue either. So we're going with our choices, aren't we? We're going with our random selection. It's got to be random because I keep picking that one every night. Anyway, right, so we're just going to start the cutting now. So what we'll do is, we'll just go through the list. We'll go A through to E. Have I got E? Yes, there. Right, so I'll pop it there. I might have to move it in a minute. I know you can't see it very well, but right, so A is this one. So let's move D and E out of the way because it seems that this fabric's got a lot of cutting to do. So A says we're going to cut 2, we need 2, and they're 3 inches. Okay, going to cut 2, need 2, 3 inches. So I'll get my trusty little ruler. Did everybody get their ruler last night? I'm afraid there was only 12. I don't know how it went. I don't know if they sold out. I'm not sure. I didn't sort of look today to see if they sold out. So we need 2 3-inch squares. So I'm going to just tidy my fabric up. And like I said yesterday, and I've been saying the whole time, if you do have these little scraps and offcuts, I'm making a little heap with mine, and we can do all sorts with that. We really can. So I'm going to cut a 3-inch strip, because I've got to the point now, we're on block 10, sorry, we're on block 10, which means that I know my half meters that I bought, 6 half meters, are going to easily see me through to 12 days of Christmas, okay? There was no way I was going to even try to guesstimate, because it's all been done in such a random fashion. You just can't say how much fabric you're going to use. So half a metre always covers pretty much everything. If I had run out, I would have just used one of the other colours, so it's no bother. The one thing I was going to say is if I don't know at this stage if this is going to happen, and we can sort this out on Friday, but the one thing I had in my mind, and I haven't been able to do, and I'll tell you, well, you'll know why when I tell you, is I wanted to see if I could get 2 10-inch squares from my scrap. So any fabric I had left over, I wondered if I could get 2 10-inch squares. Is that right? Yes. To give me 12 10-inch squares. And I was going to back all my 10-inch squares, my blocks, with some of the fabric we've used. But because I wanted to show you how to quilt and how to sash and all that sort of thing, I obviously had to use other fabric. Check C. Kath says check C. 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 Oh, right. It's the same as D. Oh, see? Well done. Well done, guys. Well done, guys. See, Kath messaged me. Check. See, they're all saying it in big grown-up writing. So, C is the same fabric as D. Do you agree? Are we happy? Happy guys? Happy guys? Happy guys? Yeah, I think we are. So it's just A and B. Good. Right, so I've lost track of myself. So now I'm cutting B. So it's cut 2. We need 4. So we're going to make half square triangles, and they're 3 3/8. 3 3/8. Thanks, guys. Could have somebody watching me back. I'm glad I had my phone on, otherwise I just ignored you. Right, so I'm just going to cut a little strip. Well done, guys. I'm glad you keep me straight. That's because I'm nattering. I just love it that it was the big grown-up writing. Right, so 3 3/8, big shouty writing. 3 3/8. So just make sure you line it up on the right place. So it's the notch, whatever you want to call it, mark, line before the 1/2 inch. Okay? Because a 1/2 inch is 3 4/8. There's one. And there is 2. Thanks, Kath. You're a diamond. I don't normally have my phone on, so I'd have never heard. And we need to subcut these. So from point to point, just subcut. Nice and carefully, so you don't ruin your square and have to recut. I mean, to be honest, you know full well that I'd have got to a certain point and thought, what an idiot, got that wrong. But we all do that, don't we? Don't we all do that? I know when you're cutting at home, you haven't got somebody chatting to you in your ear saying, wrong. Right, so, so we're going to do C and D now, okay? So we look at C, we want to cut 2, we need 4, and they're 3 3/8, and that's C, which are these half square triangles here. Are we happy? Yes, of course we are. Deliriously happy. So I'm going to take C and D off. I'm going to take B out the way. Right. This is lovely. I love this fabric. Really pretty. I know I say that every time I use it, but it just appeals to me. So it looks like I've already done a lovely cut there. Kath says, I wouldn't normally message during a live, but everybody was shouting at the screens. I know they were, Kath. I could almost feel it. It was like a psychic. It's like a psychic thing. I could feel it in my water. Oh dear. It's been fun, hasn't it, this week? Do you think? Has it been fun? Did we like it? I'll have to see if we can do something else another time of the year, yeah? What could we call it? Our summer barbecue challenge or something? I don't know what we'd do. Make sausages? No, I don't do cooking. I don't do cooking. Right, so let's just check, because I've been chatting, for goodness knows what will happen. So let's have a look. I'm cutting C, guys. So C, I cut 2, I need 4, and they're 3 3/8. So I'll check the measurement and I will subcut. So let's just pop that to one side. 3 3/8. Oh, it's been great, everybody's saying. Well, isn't that lovely? I didn't know how it would be. I thought you'd all be busy. I thought you'd all be off, I don't know, skiing or visiting relatives in, you know, far-flung places. Yeah. So I didn't know how it was going to be. It's been fun, hasn't it? Real fun. Yeah. And it's been great for John because he's been able to watch the football. Because it turns out that the football starts at 8 o'clock every night. I wouldn't know. I don't have a clue about these things. Okay. Can't go skiing. No, I have been skiing. I've been skiing in Canada, and it will come to me in a minute. If Helena's watching, tell me where I've been, Helena. Somewhere in Canada. Very famous place. Anyway, so D. We're doing D. We want 6. We need 6. We're going to cut 6. We need 6, and they're all 3 inches. So it'd be worth doing a long strip, won't it? And we're using our medium fabric, which is this one. So I'm going to cut from the other end, which is, yep, nice and straight. Because when you've got lots of cuts like this, you might as well cut yourself a strip. You really, you know, instead of cutting individual blocks, which is fine if you've only got a couple to do, you really, really, really cut a strip, yeah? So let's just check it again. So D, I need 6, and they're 3 inches square. So I've got my 3 inches, using my long ruler, because it's just more accurate. If you've got one of those shape cutter thingies, whatever they're called, they're really good. They're very accurate. What are they called? Stripology. A stripology ruler. where is it? In no, not Calgary. Not Calgary. Where was it? See, that's going to bug me now. Anyway, it's very lovely. And I went with my sister and respective husbands at the time. You know, I've had a few. And my sister and I hadn't really skied before. I think we had beforehand, but anyway, this was fairly new to us. And she wouldn't go past the nursery slope. There was no way I was going to get my sister any further than the nursery slope. And anyway, she skied, let's say 50 yards up the slope to come down again. And when she came down, she lost control. She was still upright, but she lost control. And just as she started to get onto the nursery area, there must have been about 20 little children, all about 3 years old. They were all holding onto a rope, and they were learning how to ski with the kindergarten. And she ploughed straight into them. She didn't care. She took them all out. So it was like 10-pin bowling. Honestly, they were fine. They weren't hurt, don't worry. But oh my gosh, I was absolutely hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. And then the local police drove by. It happened to be near a road, because it was obviously near the conference centre or whatever, I don't know what, ski lodgy thingy. And the policeman had his tannoy on. "Are you okay, ma'am?" And she's like, yes, I'm fine. Having knocked over all these poor little 3-year-olds. Hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. And then I wish I could remember where it was. I keep thinking, it's no good. It's no good. Right, so we're on E now. Put me right if I'm wrong. We're on E. I'm going to cut 4. I need 4, and they are also 3 inches. Okay. Yes, so the other time we were on the chairlift thingy, ski lift thingy, you know what I'm talking about. I have no idea the terminology. Anyway, I got brave, she didn't, and we went up the ski lift onto the next bit. And she said, "I don't know when I've got to get off." I said, "Well, I'll shout jump and you jump off, okay? You jump off when I say." So she said, okay. So as we got near the place that we had to get off and start skiing down, I said, "Right, jump." So she jumped and both her skis went in opposite directions. So instead of coming off like that, she went like that. She almost gave herself a hysterectomy. I can honestly say I was hysterical yet again. Her ineptitude. Oh gosh, we laughed. And in the end we had to get a ski instructor. And our ski instructor was called Milky. And Milky, I think, also gave up on us. We just couldn't do it. Well, I wasn't too bad. I could keep upright. But she's got no coordination, bless her. And yeah, so that was our adventures skiing. Yes, I'm sure we must have been the talk of the resort. Oh, lovely. Well, if Helena comes on, we'll have to ask Helena where it was that I went. It had a great big Native American carved into the mountain. So that's quite a clue, isn't it? That's quite a clue. Oh, dear me. There we are. Here we go. Oh, got a long shirt on. I keep sitting on it. Right, here we go, guys. So let's get the ironing mat up and get these laid out just to make sure we've got them correctly placed. So we know that the dark ones, let me do it like that just for a change. The dark ones go down the centre. I'll overlap them a bit. There we go, like that. Okay, They fit on there nicely. Yeah, my poor sister. Well, yes, and quite honestly, she found it uncomfortable to walk for a few days. And no amount of après-ski would help. Oh, dear me. Oh, love it. I shall have to remind her about that. Right, so the other thing we're going to do is we need 6 of these going up the sides. Now, these aren't too badly creased. They're not creased so much as crumpled, because as you know, I roll them up to keep them to, you know, on the worktop sort of thing. So they're not too bad tonight. I just might not just press them. We'll have to recut fabric later, says Karen. I know, I'm sorry. Right, so and then we need the squares in the corner. So let's do that, because then we know we've done it. So that's looking okay. So we've got quite a nice contrast. That's what I wanted to do. Nice contrast. And then we've got these ones here. Now, I was watching Sewing Street today. I was watching our Stuart, and he said to do, he didn't say me, but he said to do what I do, which is to put them out on a mat, perhaps bigger than this, and keep them there, stitch what you want to stitch and place them back every time. And I thought, oh, well done, Stuart, because that's what I've been saying to my ladies. And perhaps he'd been listening to us guys. Maybe. He's very friendly with Abigail. I expect she told you the tale of when he mentioned her on Sewing Street. But he mentioned me as well. Love to your mum, he said. Right, so look, we're happy with that. I mean, we can't see the change of that hugely. So that could have come... Oh, yes. Oh, right. Keeps me right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. What Stuart does, Abigail. Yes. Well, we all try. Now, tonally, that could be slightly darker. So if you're looking at your fabrics and you're looking at your tones, that could be just a wee bit darker, because then it would pop away from this. Okay, it does blend. I quite like it. It's fine. Yes, I know your besties. You don't have to rub it in. And obviously we've got that lovely contrast going down the middle. So think about, you couldn't perhaps cut all that out and then decide whether it's going to be right for you, but you could recut just these bits if you thought, you know what, that really doesn't work. Even if I put the raspberry there, that would have been too much. I'm just going to have a look at my fabrics, see. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's probably the best choice, to be fair. But tonally, that could be just that little bit darker. That's all I'm saying. So what we're going to do is what the pattern says, the card says, is that we're going to make up these squares, you know, this block, little mini block, one at a time, and then we'll join them together. Pretty much what we did last night. Dawn says she's cutting out while listening, cut all squares out of the same fabric. Sorry, Dawn. See, that's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at the side. Let's move everything in. I need to put it back to a 1/4 inch stitch. There we go, and I'm going to take my stitch length up to 6. Now, 2.6. Now, you don't have to. I only do that because it makes me stitch quicker, okay? And we don't want to be here all night. If I stitched with 2 on my stitch length, it would take too long, okay? So that's my little block, and don't forget, pop a pin in so they don't move if you want to. Think about protecting your work at all times. So we're going to make up the 2 half square triangle blocks, and then we can pop those 4 together. Okay, so right sides together again, of course. You'll be pros by now. Yeah, you'll be pros. I changed my needle to a 12, guys, so I'm going to see if that's any better. I haven't tested it out, so I haven't had time, but I was actually stitching the new Children in Need pattern today, so hopefully I can launch that next week. I think you'll like it. I think it's going to be an interesting one for you. The old Children in Need patterns are actually back on the website. So if you wanted to get an older, you know, last year's Children in Need patterns, they are there, they're back. The bears are back in town. And the same price as they were. And I'll count them up. Oh, that's a bit bad. I'm just going to cut that. It swiveled my fabric and I don't like that at all. So I'm just going to restart that one. Yes, same price as last year. £2.50 goes to Children in Need. And if you remember, we raised, well, close to 7,500 last year, didn't we? It's quite amazing, really. I'm still in shock about it. When you say it out loud, you think, goodness, that's a lot of money, a lot of money. So you can set your seams if you like setting your seams and making everything beautifully neat. It does make a difference, keeps everything nice and accurate. And I think, again, I was watching Kerry as well in Living in Loveliness this morning, and both her and Stuart agreed that ironing, pressing, I do prefer to say ironing as you go really does make a difference to your accuracy. So what I've done is I've stitched these two, and that's not right. There. So just keep referring to your pattern. Okay, can you see? If I do it this way, that's that way, you'll see that it's just that grey block that I'm doing, this grey bit here with the white. So now I'm going to join these two together, and the centre seam there. Yeah. Yeah, so it's lovely to have that, you know, everything that I said, they were saying as well. And it's nice to have that confirmation that, you know, that I'm on the right track with you all the time. You know, I'm not a quilter. I don't mind making a quilt. Quite enjoy it, I suppose. I make quite a few, so I suppose I should. But I'd never profess, I'd never give myself that title. Looks a bit out there. I'll have to check that. Yeah, so, but it's nice, you know, when somebody else confirms what you've said. It really is quite nice. I'm just going to check this square here, guys. Can you see? This one is the half square triangle ones, and that's absolutely fine. That looks a little bit short to me, and I think they were 3 inches, weren't they? If I have a look at my card, no, not C, D was 3 inches. I'm just going to check. Yeah, that is right. Perhaps it's my sewing then. Right, so again, we'll just give that a little press. Set the seam if you would like. Actually, our Kath told me something interesting today, because one of the blocks, one of the cards is incorrect. There's only one measurement that's incorrect, and she just happened to spot it. And I think it's worth me telling you. Now, this is absolutely no criticism of the publisher, the editor, the whatever. This is purely an observation. And actually, you know what? None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. So if I remember, I will tell you which pattern it is, which block it is in the deck, and what the size should be. Grey part, you can use the plain fabric. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. You choose your own fabrics and do whatever you like. Absolutely. So let me just pop this down on my mat, and I will show you what this looks like. So if I move this down slightly, so we've done those two there, look. So you can still, I've still got the pattern. So let me get it so it makes sense. There we are. So there's the pattern, and we've done that corner there. So now all I'm going to do is join those two up. Okay, so just make sure these are in the right place. Yeah. And then all we're going to do is just try and make sure we nest those seams. So get your stiletto at the ready, or give them, put them, you know, pin. Now see, that's not lining up there, guys. That's not lining up, but I've checked my measurements and it's fine. So it's just a little thought there. Just a little thought, just a little observation. So nesting the seams beautifully in the middle and just holding those down and coming up to the other end. Just make sure all your fabrics sit beautifully. And I'm using my 1/4 inch, so we're all okay. Alexandra says, hi, darn it, I'm late. Good thing you can watch it later. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So there's our 1/4 done. Now the next 1/4 is these here. So I'll just carry on and do those. So I'll put them together, iron them as I go, and make sure that they're all looking gorgeous. Chain piece if you want to, if you find that, now you're pros, you might find chain piecing actually a good thing. It saves thread, it can save time, it's quite quick, as long as you keep an eye on which blocks you're doing and where they should be in the pattern, if you like, then yeah, do chain piecing. It's I think as you get more and more confident, and I've seen over the last few days how confident you're all getting and how beautiful some of your, well, all of them, well, I'm going to say some of them, all of them are. I'm just blown away, really, really blown away. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so I just want to make sure that when I go to nest these, that they are in opposite direction. I think they are actually already. Just make sure that when you nest, these centre seams are opposite each other, okay? So I just want to put them down on my mat again. So let me just lift that up. So I've done it. So I've got a pair here and a pair here. It matters not because I can actually swap those around, but so if I do that, let me just do it that way. There you go. So you see, just by twisting a few bits, you can have it as I would have wanted. So we've stitched this, and now we're going to stitch along to join those pair together. Wanda says this reminds me of a Jacob's ladder. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, they're all using the same shapes. There are going to be similarities, aren't there? There really are. Yeah. Well, I keep losing my foot control. Let me just get it back. It's being a bit naughty. So don't forget to nest those seams just to make sure that they're sitting on top of each other. They're well behaved. They're nice as nice can be. Use your stiletto, or you could use, you know, the point of your scissors if you've got a nice pointy pair of scissors, and just get these squares put together. So it's a nice easy block. It's got a little bit of difficulty with the half square triangles, but nothing too, you know, mad, too crazy. And then just push those seams away, but you might find that when you come to put the blocks together that you might want to change the direction of that seam. That looks lovely, doesn't it? I just like the 4 squares. So we'll pop that down on the mat. So let's have a look. So we've done this one, we've done that one. So let's do this 4 here, okay, and then we'll go on to the half square triangles again. What does Paula say? I have found I can chain piece I put a pin in the seam to be sewn, otherwise it all gets in a muddle. Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Yes, and you've seen that I don't use pins, and that's pretty naughty, because you should use a pin at least twice so you know what seam you're stitching. Because if you watched me on one of them, was it? I think it was Twin Sisters, which is obviously my nemesis. I did sew the wrong seam. I wasn't concentrating, I wasn't using my iron board, my wall mat, and I mean, all right, we just had a quick unpick, didn't we? But so nothing traumatic. Yes, pin twice. So you would put a pin twice into that seam, so you know. If you put a pin, especially on a triangle, if you might put a pin on something, maybe in the corner, whatever, and you might end up still stitching the wrong seam. So I would suggest using 2 as a minimum. Okay. See how you go. I wouldn't use clips. That's the only thing I wouldn't do. I wouldn't use clips because they're too heavy for our lovely quilting fabrics. They are too heavy. So use a nice sharp pin. Those Taylor Seville pins that I use are just totally gorgeous, and I need to order more. I highly recommend. They are quite expensive. These ones here. There we go. They're short. You can see it's a bit bent now, and they're incredibly sharp. You can iron over this if you want to. It's all silicone tips, so you don't have to worry. And like if you do bend them, you can actually straighten them quite easily. There we are. So you've now got a straight pin. And so these Taylor Seville, I think these are the fine ones. I'm pretty sure they're the fine ones. But they're not cheap. Let's put it that way. They're not cheap. So see if your budget allows. If you're looking for a decent pin, I've got a gazillion pins, as I'm sure you have, and they're just not up to it. They're blunt. I think, quite honestly, they put holes in my fabric, and that's the last thing I want to have is holes in my fabric. So yeah, it's like everything in life, isn't it? You get what you pay for. Yeah, so you might want to have a look at those. And I think there's some extra long fine ones which I think I might aspire to. And in actual fact, last year John's daughter-in-law asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said some Taylor Seville pins please, so she bought me a pack, which was perfect. It's just what I wanted. Yeah, sewing again today and stitched on one wrong. Jack to the rescue. That's Angela. Well, do you know, Angela, we've all been there this week, but that's okay. So listen, at least we're getting good value for money out of our seam I call them unpickers, but seam rippers. Yeah, we're getting good value. You know, when they say, sometimes when they sell clothing, they say pence per wear, don't they? To make it sound like you're getting an absolute bargain. And so I've done that for there, look. So now I'm going to do these. This one here looks a bit messy, but it's the same as that one, okay? So we're stitching the 2 half square triangles together first, and getting those looking gorgeous. Try and get the edges and everything lined up. Makes a difference. And I think my size 12 needle has helped a little bit. I think I must have had this machine. Have I had it a year? Have I had it a year? Not sure, but it should go in for a service soon, shouldn't it? So yeah, I'll have to arrange that. The other Juki, I suppose that should have a service, but I can't have both of them gone at the same time. Oh, here we are. Gemma says, my sister bought me these pins for Christmas. They are fantastic. They absolutely are. And it's crazy. So, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, I'll have a pack of pins, please. What? But they are worth every single penny. Sorry, they were a bit close together. They are worth every single penny. So, let's get these done. And just give them a nice iron. I have to say, every time I've pressed one of the blocks, you know, with my household iron, my big iron, let's say my Aliso, and steamed them and put the wadding on and the backing, they are transformed, completely and utterly transformed. Right, so let's put these back so I know what I'm doing. Let's get it like that. So there we are. So I've stitched that one and that one. So now I'm going to stitch that to that, join them together. Okay, so that to that, join them together. Yeah, so yeah, so you know, these things are important, you know, to get the right tools. They do the right job for you, don't they? I need my my 221, my Singer 221. I need that serviced. Don't know what's happened to that. It's trouble is I do take it away with me in the motorhome, and maybe we went over a bit of a bumpy road or something. I mean, it is in a case. It should be really secure, but I do wonder whether I damaged it in some way. You know that square's out there, look, can you see? I've got a little, about 1/8 of an inch. Does make you wonder. I mean, to be honest, that would go into a seam allowance. That would go into a seam allowance. But I am just wondering if that measurement was right. But there we are. We're just going by what we can see, aren't we? All comes out in the wash, as they say. So let's just push those seams over. And you can see I always push my seam open so my triangles are nice and flat. If possible, keep your triangles flat rather than try to bend those seams back, because there's a lot of fabric and it's not ideal. Some you have to, so keep it so it looks like that, and so the seams are nice and flat. Yeah. So let's put these together. In fact, I'm going to put it back on my block. I don't trust myself. And let's just hold on. No, hold on. That way. No, that way. Hold on. I'm just looking at my blocks, guys. Hold on. Wait. Make sure they're in the right place. Yes, they're fine now. Oh, Michaela says she just ordered some extra fine Seville pins. There they are. They're amazing. Yeah, so super sharp. So now I'm going to stitch those two together. Make sure I nest that seam in the centre. If you've pressed one so it's going the same way as the other one, then press it the other way. But it should be the opposite, because we've done the half square triangles. So line everything up. Nest that lovely seam in the middle. When they go together, it's almost like they're meant to be. It's really lovely. That wasn't very well lined up, but there we are. So just before we get to there, I'm just having a look, making sure they're sitting nicely. Bringing my points together down here. And of course you'll want to trim your dog ears off. So your sticky out triangle bits, do you see here? And up the end there. You know, please do trim them away. You can see it's a bit wonky, isn't it? Shouldn't admit, but you know. There we are. So yeah, so trim those away so it neatens everything up. You've got quite a bit of trimming to do on those half square triangles. We'll give that an iron in a second. And with this one as well, we can just give that a little trim, because you're just adding bulk where bulk doesn't need to be. So just trim them away. There we go. That's that done. So I'll put that back. So let's give that seam an iron. Like I say, you might want to move it when you put the blocks together. I'm not thinking at this stage which way they're going. Okay. Now this is a classic example of what I just said to you a moment ago, that the triangles will want to definitely go a certain way. But when you come to this situation, I'll show you, you'll find that this seam, because we've pressed that seam that way, right, that this seam obviously will want to go that way, and we've had to double up over our half square triangle. So that triangle is not, if you like, lying flat, it's doubled up over itself. Now, the only thing you can do to rectify that is to open the seam up and have a flat seam, yeah? So, but I don't think, I mean, that's going to be in the seam allowance anyway, so it shouldn't really interfere too much with quilting, and it's only the quilting of it that would stop you from having the bulk, because your needle has got to go through all of those layers as you're quilting. So if you've got a huge amount of bulk anywhere, that's where you want to try and spread it. So there we go. So there's our 4 little blocks. So now we're going to join our 4s together. So just keep an eye on the pattern. Keep looking at the block. If you haven't got the blocks yet, then take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of that card. So I'll give you a minute. You can take the screenshot, okay? And I'll let you take a screenshot of that. I'd like to think it wouldn't stop you from buying the card deck, but there we are. It gives you an idea. So let me see. I've lost track. See, this is where you would stitch the wrong seams together because I've nattered. Right. Now you're going to put pins in yours again, guys. You're going to put pins in. You're going to put quilter's tape on there if you want to. Whatever it takes, so you keep everything neat. Now I'm looking at my nesting, and my nesting wasn't quite right, so I'm going to move it. And you remember that little sort of shortness of the seam. Now, that's a funny thing to say. You know, I said to you we're about 1/8 of an inch out on that square. Well, I've allowed for that in my seam allowance, and I'll show you. Now, this is not ideal, folks, but I can't think why the squares aren't the right size. Maybe, who knows, maybe we didn't quite get the maths right. So I've gone all the way across, I've nested my seam, I've pushed that one out, but I want you to look at this, because that's the bit that where I'm out, but it's only 1/8 of an inch, which is interesting. Somebody who's got half a brain more than me could work out if that maths does work out like that. But all I've done is incorporate into the seam allowance. I haven't tried to match these up. I've gone with what my gut says, which is go by these squares here. Who knows? Who knows? It's just I want to point that out to you, okay? I think that's only fair. So let me just give this a press. I know you can't see, but I'm literally just giving this a little iron. I'm afraid, as you know, I'm a little bit number blind, which makes my job interesting. If you think about it. So I've picked up the other 2 blocks now, the bottom pair, and I'm just going to stitch those together. And just make sure those seams are nesting. So whichever way they went, you want to turn it the other way. So, well, it doesn't really matter which way, to be honest, but turn them the other way. Keep to your 1/4 inch. There we go. Super job. Absolutely super. Is it because the fabric was a bit creased? Oh no! You know what, Lynn? It's not creased as such. I know what you're saying, but it's not. It wasn't creased. It wasn't creased enough for me to think, oh gosh, I better iron that, because yes, that would make a difference. Absolutely not. No, not in this case. I understand completely what you're saying, but not in this case. It wasn't enough. If it was a truly crumpled, I would say, gosh, yes, perhaps that is the case. But these were just literally fold lines, and not even severe fold lines. If you look back, you'll see that they weren't. So I'm more than happy with how that was, how they were. Right. So let me show you again how we're doing. So now we've got the 2 pairs together here. We've got the 2 pairs together here. So now, oops, I'm going to join them together. Now look, we've got 3 seams to nest. So this is where I want you to seriously mark these seams together. Pin them, put quilter's tape, you know, just look after yourselves here and get just these 3 points correct, and then ease your fabric in if you need to get them to fit, okay? So I'll flip mine over. Again, you might need to readjust the nesting of your seams. So the first one will nest and we'll pop a pin in. I'll be good. Doesn't happen very often. Take note. So I've pinned there. I'm going to my second one. I'm going to just flip that over, and you can feel it in your thumb and index finger. You can feel that it's sitting nicely, and then we'll pin the seam if you like, so you're holding that down flat. Okay, and then we'll just iron that back in a sec. And the third one we're coming up to here again. Just feel it in your thumb and index finger. It kind of locks into it, and it makes it lovely and smooth. If one is sitting on top of the other, it will be lumpy. So we're rather hoping that that's absolutely the way to go. Okay, and like I say, ease in the other fabric. Ease it in. Now, easing in is not stretching and pulling and tugging. If you've got a walking foot, that absolutely does help, but you're just being in charge. Okay, you're just being in charge. I think this is going to be fine. It does make me wonder. So I'm coming right up to my pin. Right up to my pin. I'm going to hold my fabric and I'm going to replace it with my stiletto. My stiletto, I can go further and then let go. And then I'm going to stop. And then, can you see? It's a little bit lumpy bumpy, but I'm going to ease it, which means I'm just going to adjust it. I'm going to help it. So I'm not necessarily tugging at it, I'm just helping it. So I'm coming up to my pin. Again, I'll take my pin out. I'm going to keep my finger there, so all my layers stay where they are. They don't move about. I'm going to get my stiletto and I'm going to hold it down. And my stiletto will go almost up to the needle. You've got to watch it, you've got to be sensible, but it's amazing what a difference it makes. So we're just past 9 o'clock, guys, so hopefully you've all kept up. You'll all be fine to go and make it. And there we are. There we are. So obviously it needs a jolly good press. So let me put it down on my mat. And there is our road to Oklahoma. I suppose if you use yellow, you could have Yellow Brick Road. Except it's the road to Oklahoma. The dark block on the bottom left second row. Bottom left second row looks smaller than the others. Does it? Oh. Right. Maybe it's because, you see, these have had all of their seam allowances. This has only had 2 of the seam allowances. So maybe that's what you're seeing. Because once you stitch that in there and there, that would then be the same size as that. I get what you're saying. It's funny, isn't it, how things look different. And I mean, it's worked out fine, hasn't it? Totally worked out fine. It needs a good press now. See that slightly hanging over there? Perhaps it's my sewing, who knows? Be interesting to know how you get on, guys. I like to know how you get on. So there we are. Okay, so obviously it gets an absolute super duper press. Let me show you the one we did yesterday, because I've given that a press. And I've got it ready for quilting. Look at the difference between that and that. That's lumpy. That is so pristine and flat because it's been pressed. Okay, so you need to really get some steam on that and work it in and really have a... I mean, it's just absolutely flat and gorgeous. Now look at that. It's lumpy bumpy. So it needs a really good press. So don't ever stint on that, because that's really important, really important. Okay, so let me see. Hope you've all kept up tonight. I feel as I've run a marathon. I'm just going to tell you which block it is, because Kath sent me a photo. Let me see if I can pick it up. Here we go. It's the Roman cross, and on the 12-inch block the measurement should be 4 1/4, not 2 1/4. So if you've got the Roman, well, if you've got the card deck, by all means go and make it and see if you agree, okay? Because, you know, we're not the gospel of whatever. So, but Kath says on the 12-inch block, letter C, it should be 4 1/4, not 2 1/4. So it's just worth you knowing, that's all. No criticism at all of anything or anybody. Right, thank you ever so much, everybody. It's been absolutely lovely to have your company. Tomorrow night at 7 I'll be live in our members group, in our on our online sewing group at 7 o'clock. We've got a book review to do, and we've got member of the month to go through, and 1 or 2 other bits and bobs. So join me there if you are a gold or platinum member. That's at 7 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock I will be here doing the penultimate block, which I've got lined up ready to go. So I'll see some of you tomorrow night at 7, and then all of you at 8 o'clock here making the 12 Days of Christmas blocks. Thank you ever so much for your company. Really appreciate it. You've all been absolutely super, and keep those photos coming because they've been absolutely fantastic to see. Blown away.